The Imperial College London study that featured in BBC Two's documentary looked into the use of psilocybin, the psychoactive compound found in magic mushrooms. However, this is just one of many research projects on the topic across the world. Rhodri Andrews is the director of the Canadian Centre for Psychedelic Science, who's been researching microdosing. This is the practice of regularly consuming very small doses of psychedelic drugs. His research found that participants who did this had less negative emotions and dysfunctional attitudes. He suggests that we may not be that far from seeing psychedelics more widely used as treatment.
There's a mental health crisis that's enveloping the whole Western world. And I think mental health professionals are at a loss and governments are at a loss, and they're like, well, we'll try whatever.
The most popular psychedelic substances are all Class A drugs. I did, however, speak to someone who was willing to discuss their experiences of consuming psilocybin for mental health purposes.
It was one of the most life-changing things that's ever happened to me. After you take a big dose like that, for the next 2 or 3 weeks, you've got this sense of well-being and like all your depression's gone and everything.
For him, the experience he had on his first trip actually revived his relationship with his daughter. He realised he had been drifting from her.
It just came into my head that all she wanted was a hug of her dad. And then the whole thing just changed to like a massive carnival and like this colours you've never seen, love you've never experienced, you've never seen it, and it's the most profound thing that's ever happened to me. And since that time, my bond with my daughter's perfect.
Psychedelic drugs are not a magic pill, however, and regulating them is key. Petranka believes that the success of the treatment is individual to the patient's needs.
People with certain disorders or dispositions that should be particularly careful about psychedelics, like people with a family history of schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. So I think there are also individual differences. I don't think that it will work equally well for everyone. And I think that that's a dangerous notion that people who stand to profit from it are advancing.
Part of the problem in identifying who such treatments would work for is that the research is not yet there.
Almost all of the research that we're talking about has been done on relatively wealthy, relatively stable people. Once we start administering psychedelics to people who have severe mental health disorders with complex presentations, I think it'll be much more difficult to assess who should get it and how and when and whether it will work for them.
Until that research has been conducted, it's important to remember that these substances are potentially dangerous outside of controlled conditions. Rhodri Andrews, Invicta News.